itself carries a lot of importance. And then we go into extensive literature survey. We were doing like extensive literature survey, and then slowly we'll go ahead in all these stages. Okay, and you will go through all these stages during your research or PhD career. So research problem. So what we studied in research problem, in research process, the first and the foremost step happens to be that selecting and properly defining a research problem, right? I'll do recap so that whatever you understand in the class itself, you have to sit for the exam. That is why we are keeping on repeating. A researcher must find the problem and formulate it so that it becomes susceptible to research. So, the form you should do it in such a way that it is susceptible for doing the research, means feasible and all those aspects, right? Research problem refers to some difficulty need which a researcher experiences in the context in the theoretical or practical situations, and what to obtain a solution for the same. So what is the necessity of the defining a research problem? We told that quite often we all hear that the problem clearly stated is problem half solved, and then we discuss some questions which should come into the researcher mind, which he should or she should ask while defining the problem, so that he can formulate it precisely. And what techniques they should follow? What is the technique that you should follow for defining the research problem? 4 techniques, right? We discussed in details all these 4 techniques. First is statement of the problem in a general way. First, you will broadly, because we initially will select a broad area, so and we will throw some research problem which is very broad. Okay, it might contain some ambiguity or errors, but don't bother so much. Then you understand the nature of the problem. Okay, try to understand what I am proposing with the help of the previous books and all those, and then surveying the available literature. So that we will do today. Then you have to survey the available literature. So again, as I told you, that these research stages are not having a distinct boundary. They're interconnected. So during the problem itself, you have to survey the literature, initial stage only, and developing the ideas through discussion. So you have to discuss with your supervisor, with your guide, with your colleagues, with your experts in the field, lab mates, on all those. And then finally, after understanding everything, you rephrase what you have initially proposed. So these are the 5 stages of, or 4 stages actually, of technique for defining the research problem. So we need to follow a sequential pattern. The problem is stated in a general way first, then ambiguities are resolved by thinking and rethinking process, so that you become more specific and come into an analytical and the realistically achievable research problem, okay, which is relevant. Then we went on to survey of literature in the second class, in this research and in publication ethics classes. So we understood what is the purpose of review of literature. So what was the purpose? If you recall, one was we become familiar with the subject. Okay, we are not familiar with the subject, we do some literature survey. If some we are going into an unknown area, if we do a literature survey, we will study, and then we become familiar with this, and then other points were also there. And what were the benefits? Benefits is it will help you in proposing the research problem as we did it, and then in the next stage also. Next stage is proposing the research hypothesis. Okay, what hypothesis you will prove during your research years. Okay, then we went to how to conduct the literature survey, how you will do the literature survey. So you will go to these primary and secondary sources. Okay, the sources you have to think, what you have to think, how to choose your sources, and points to be kept in mind that I have again written today is that it should be topically relevant. So whatever research problem you are choosing, means the literature you are choosing, it should be of your topic. You should not deviate too much. The main focus should be same. Whatever literature you are studying, it should be relevant to your topic. Appropriately aged means it should not be too old. As I explained you right yesterday, that it should be of recent times, that the problem is contemporary, not a very old problem. Credible means you will go to those journals or internet means websites which are credible, which has some credibility. Okay, we'll avoid incredible sources and appropriately publish. Okay, for that you can take again guide and everything like that. So literature survey, how it will help us to sharpen the problem, reformulate it as we the research problem as we did it during the problem stage, to get a proper understanding of the problem, acquire proper theoretical and practical knowledge, show how the problem under study relates to previous research. Okay, how the problem which you will take relate to your previous research. Okay, and then know whether the proposed problem has already been solved. Means avoiding duplication, right? The points to be kept in mind while reviewing the literature: read relevant literature, read original works, read with comprehension, read in time and discuss, index the literature. And also another thing is store it in properly, because later on you might lose it. So this is how it should be done. And these are the assignments. You can just write few answers to this from these, or you can separately keep this presentation. The answers are written here in this presentation only. So now we will go on. So this was still assignment. This was there in the syllabus. Okay. I am just taking additional lecture to how to write a literature review. This will help you during your research year. So you can, as I told you, means you can think of wherever you are joining. Okay, I go and write a review on whatever I'm reading. So what strategy you will adopt for that? So that is why I am taking these classes. So why this is important, what benefit you will get? Somebody say अरे additional काम सर बोल रहा है, नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं है. Because in your thesis, whatever thesis you will be writing at the end of your PhD, I will show you the thesis profile of HBNI next class. Okay, so whatever thesis you will be submitting, there will be an introduction. In introduction of thesis, is expected that presents a concise literature review. So why not do it at beforehand? Means during the initial years only, during when you are joining, you do a proper literature review so that you become familiar, you understand the problem, and you do better. You understand the research methods, means the techniques by which you will do the research, and those techniques you will understand and you will do better way, right? And you also understand the theories embedded in those problems. So it is an integral part of your thesis. Anyway, you have to do it during your thesis. In each, so many of you have, yesterday we discussed, many of you have already published a paper. So in introduction, what you do a short literature survey, nothing like that. No? A few, it's not an extensive one, but definitely you present around 20-30 papers, which in the similar area, so that you present to the author, means as an author, you present to the readers what has been done previously in your area, whatever you have undertaken, the research you have undertaken, and what is lacking, that so that you are going ahead with this study. So this is what you have to do in each paper. And then in your thesis, more, it's not like a paper, it will be a more extensive one. It's not a shortened version like you do present in a paper. So it becomes, so if you do a literature review now, what it becomes a platform to express your expertise in the field of your research. So generally you'll find, as you will go ahead and do a literature review for study purpose, not writing, then you will read primary and secondary sources. See, if you read a review article, it will give you more information, definitely. You have many of you have already done. So there's review articles. This gives you a better understanding of your area, right? So this is how review article will be important. So why, if you present to the readers, then it is more, it will be beneficial to the community, your community in which you are working. Okay, whatever you are undertaking. So it's becomes a platform where you express your expertise. So this is how it helps in your field of research. Reader understand your thesis or hypothesis better. Okay, so this is a very important factor. See, if a proper literature review and during your thesis, when you are proposing a hypothesis during your thesis introduction, if you do a proper literature review and present it in such a way, then highlight the gap area. Okay, this is not yet done because the previous literature lacks this understanding, and I'm working in this. So your hypothesis will be attractive, or attractive to the readers who will read your thesis, right? And the reviewer, the examiner will be happy. This person has done a nice job in terms of literature review as well as in proposing the hypothesis. it proves your credibility as a reliable author. So anyways, you all have to prove your credibility during these years by publishing papers, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Somebody will publish 10, some 20. Anyways, you have to prove your credibility. Why not by a review, right? Writing a review. So this is what is all about. It's definitely it's optional, huh? It's not compulsory. Just but I'm just letting you know how to do. You also have the option to write a review article on your topic of research, presenting a concise review of available literature, identifying the gap areas, and presenting it to the readers. So this is how. But the necessity is this. The necessity is this. This is optional review article. But definitely you have to submit a thesis for getting your degree. There you have anyways you have to review the literature. So you cannot escape that. But you can escape this review article writing, definitely. What is a literature review? So what is a review actually? Yeah, you have already read. So review a discussion of the published sources available on a particular topic. So any topic. So we discussed some topics yesterday, several topics like in physics, in chemistry, in engineering. So on these topics, it's the discussion of already which is published. Okay. It is an attempt to organize the available literature and evaluate information according to the research question, thesis, and central theme. So this is what an attempt the author is making. Instead, but how you will make an attempt? So while reading it, say for example, we have seen that in many cases, say a material, say TiO2, in which somebody have doped chromium. Okay, just abruptly. It's not that somebody has done or not done like that. But during my research studies, also have seen that there are contradictory reports. Somebody is telling that with TiO2, chromium doping is increasing the catalytic activity, and somebody is reporting, okay, it is decreasing. So, as a author of a review article, instead of just opposing or supporting a claim, you cannot oppose or support a claim, or summarize. You cannot summarize them. इसने हाँ बोला, इसने ना बोला. What is your duty? Literature review evaluates and compares the ideas of others on your given topic. So he will try. You have to try to understand what are the difference in between these two that they have got opposing data. So if you can find out, then you can by a proper analysis, then you can present in your review article. It's not that you will summarize, isko zyada mila, isko kam mila. It's not that you will just opposite somebody, but he has gone higher, he is best, the one who is doing lower is not good. It's not like that. So you have to analyze it, and during the analysis, if you can find the reason, you can present the reasoning. This allows your user to easily recognize what is being said about your given topic, how these sources compare with one another, and what gap are there in the research. So what will happen by a proper literature review? What you will find out? Just simply find out the gap areas, right? Where the study is less, where more investigation needs to be done, where already a lot of data is there, but still there are ambiguities in the data. That also you can identify and present it. So this is what is a literature review. What isn't a literature review? What is not? It's not strictly an annotated bibliography. So what is an annotated bibliography? It means a summary and evaluation of each article on scholarly research one by one, with little or no connection made between the various articles. So in your field, you are studying several articles and you summarize and present it. So that is not a literature review. It is called as an annotated bibliography, means a list of references. So generally, that is not considered as a proper review, because you are not critically examining. Okay, what are the gap areas, or what are the connection between the different articles? What is the linking between these articles? So where there is a common era, or there is a common point. I will point means with examples I will tell you tomorrow. But this is a general theory that it's not that you will just list the sources in your article, but you have to make a connection between them. And annotated bibliography is very different from synthesizing and comparing of information in a literature review. Okay, and annotated bibliography is very different from synthesizing and comparing information in a literature review. So it's not that an annotated bibliography, because there you are not, since you are not giving your expertise in that or your analysis into that. Okay, so that you have to include. It's not an essay, report, or research paper that is does not state, prove, or develop main points. So in a research paper, what you do, like like your PhD thesis itself, in a research paper, you propose a hypothesis or you find a gap area and work in an area and prove it. Huh? But in a article, review article, you do not have to prove anything. It's just a analysis of what is presented. But literature review does not answer a question, nor is a list of summarized articles. So this is what isn't a literature review. Okay. So points to remember before starting to write a literature. Now you want to review something. Okay, you can go and do this practice. Just what you have to initially do. First, what you have to do. First, you have to consult and clarify. What you have to consult and clarify? Discuss and seek clarification from supervisor, co-author, or yourself. You have to be self clarity is there required. Okay, initially only during proposal stage, you have to discuss who are the co-authors. You have to discuss with them, and your guide also, supervisor. What you should discuss, rough idea regarding the number of citations. Okay, what should be the number of references you will consider? It can be 50, it can be 100. As I told you, in a general article, it is varies between 20, 10 to 30, like that, in the introduction section. Huh? But thesis, how much it will be? You have seen some thesis? Huh? Huh? Seen, no? How much it is? Hundreds, huh? So in the thesis, you need hundreds. So okay, so in a review article also, at least 100 is desirable to start with. It's mini review, you can tell. Huh? And very high impact journals, they are asking reviews having minimum 300 to 400. But 100 is okay for a review article to start with. At your stage, it is okay. But suppose if you are having even 100 and to or 400, whatever it is, a mini sort of review or a very extensive review, what are the other things which you should go beyond the number? So you have to decide initially, मैं 100 का ही करूँगा. Then the task become easy. So if you don't decide and keep on increasing, it will never end. It has happened with me. I have started and not ended because okay till 100 हो गया, लेकिन मुझे और भी better करना है, and it went on and we could not complete it by that way. So somewhere you have to stop. Even with thesis also, during the submission stage also you'll feel this is lacking, still I can do it, but somewhere you have to stop and decide, right? For here also, initially you have to decide, okay, if it is 100, I will do, okay, 10, 120 or 130 is okay. Next, you have to decide choosing the type of sources, what you will include. So initially, some reports are very important. Say give idea about, suppose somebody is presenting in energy. So in energy, I will not leave energy. So in energy area, there are International Energy Agency. Have you heard? You have not heard? So they every year they present the energy scenario of the world. Okay, International Energy Agency, IEA is called. Like atomic energy, they have also. This is Department of Atomic Energy in India. So international, what is the this everybody knows, IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. So target that one of you go and present in an IAEA conference during your tenure, during your PhD. So that is the international agencies. Like that, for energy, there are multiple agencies. IEA is one of them, and they every year present how much energy report, they called it, global energy report. So in every country they will take what is the total fuel consumption, how much is the fossil fuels, means coal, gas, oil they have used, and how much is the green energy they have used, means renewables like solar and wind or hydropower, like that. So like that, so leverages are given to this green energy. Nowadays, the renewable energy are the attractive ones. Okay, so the climate summit which takes place, COP, you have heard of COP? No. So those are the climate summit where big countries meet together and they make MOUs. So they target, okay, we'll incorporate this much amount of renewable energy by this year. So India has committed that by 2070 probably, I don't exactly remember, will become net zero. You have heard of net zero? Huh? Net zero you have heard. Can you explain what is net zero? So net zero, what is net zero? हाँ हाँ, नेट जीरो एमिशन मतलब क्या है? जीरो, कुछ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एमिट नहीं होगा. हाँ हाँ होगा. हाँ तो क्या होगा? How much we give, we will again take it back, like that. So a net zero is a concept, huh? So that India say they will achieve. But so for that, there are targets. By 2030, this much amount of solar energy has to be introduced, this much gigawatt. So India have their own targets. You can visit the Power Ministry website in India, then you can see. So like that. So initially during the review article, it is important that, hello. So initially you have to present that what is the uh, energy targets or the net zero, why I am working in renewable energy. You have to show the importance, because okay, this is a global target, or the countrywide. In India we are targeting this much gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030, and so right now it is this much, and so we have to increase it. And definitely it becomes topically important to the audience that okay, I have I'm presenting a review which is important to the energy scenario of the world. Huh? Okay. So there are many concepts like that. And regarding energy scenario, there were. Have you heard of terawatt challenge? No. Huh? Okay, we'll do later on. So there are so many things regarding energy. So to choosing the type of sources, so it's better to start with such reports, right? Huh? You will get in websites, and then go to journal articles where they give some hypothesis and this proof. Okay, and how some of the for material sciences, for if somebody working in material chemistry or material physics or solid condensed matter physics or whatever, so you will deal with materials. So which materials are better? Why it is better? So that you will get in those journal articles, and what doping or what substitution, what composite making, how it is improving. And books is good for understanding the fundamental things. Okay, initially you want to propose a theory, it will give you a book. You have to consult a book where they will give you the theory. Huh? As I told you, huh? You have to understand what are the thermodynamics and kinetics of that. So for that you have to consult a book. The journal will give you only the uh, specific problem which we are discussing. Summarize, combine, or evaluate the sources by discussing a common theme or issue. So then you have to summarize. And suppose recently we were writing on ammonia, huh? So there are various type of groups of materials. We separate. Okay, we separate it into various groups. So this is the hydroxides, metal hydroxides. These are the layer double hydroxides investigated. These are the oxides which have been investigated. So these are the metal nanoparticles. So like that, you have to make separate subheadings, and then summarize and combine under each subheading the similar types of studies, like that. Should you provide subheadings? So this is the question. So should you provide subheadings? How you will separate out? Initially, you have to decide. And other background information such as definition and or history. Narrow your topic. The number of level literature reports in terms of published article might be huge. Huh? It can be hundreds or thousands, so you can Google it and find out. But you have to narrow down so that you concentrate on your topic. So you cannot go into thousands as literature. Earlier study of literature, if one limits the number of sources to read, writing the literature review, focus and converge area. A literature review you will write will be created surrounding your ideas, and not the ideas of the sources. Okay, so it is your idea. You have to bend that review, the findings of the article according to your idea. As an author of the literature review, will not list the sources and go into detail about each one of them one at a time. So not like that. Instead, search and focus what themes or issue connect your sources together and then converge. The questions. Every time you have to ask questions, as I told you. So do the sources present one or different problem, a missing aspect or a missing link? So this is very important. So we have to have the analytical mindset. Okay, these are the similar. For material, it is simple. These people have all done in nickel molybdenum alloys. So I separate them into nickel molybdenum alloys. These have done in nickel phosphorus alloys. I separate them into nickel phosphorus alloys. But then how you will find in these nickel molybdenum what is not done, what is missing, or you have to find that link and propose it in your article so that it becomes a study, means a concern or a problem for study for future generation or for your thesis. How are the presentation made in different sources, similar or vary? So so in the same field you will find that the presentations or the type of data are different. Say for electrocatalyst, right now what we are doing for catalyst, electrocatalyst, somebody catalyst, they will plot suppose with temperature versus conversion, they will plot. Somebody will plot 1 by T versus what means RNS plot somebody will do and compare the energy. Somebody will plot the time versus yield. With time, how much yield is there. Somebody will plot the time versus decrease in reactant concentration. So they don't know the product. They have not measured. They have measured the decrease in reactant concentration. How we will link them up in a common platform? That is your challenge. So you have to separate them out. Who has plotted yield, you will plot yield and compare. Who has plotted conversion, means percentage conversion of the reactant, you have to separate them out. Somebody who has given the activation energy, you have to link. Somebody who has not given, you cannot write, right? You are not working there. Do they propose or fit to common theory, or they are different? Do the sources reveal a trend in the field? So that trend you have to find out. As I told you, it's like doping, chromium doping in TiO2, whether it is decreasing or increasing, like that. So there will be a trend you will generally find by substitute, means any kind of changes in any material, or somebody who's doing some other type of work. Then also you have to find out the trend. That trend is very important to understand and then propose to in your article. Is there a discrepancy or the debate to be solved? As I told you, okay, there is a controversial subject, then you have to say, hey, there is controversy exists. That much is okay. Don't try to solve the controversy. That you can solve it by means working, not in the review article. But there exists a controversial thing, discrepancies there in the results. Pick one of these themes to focus the organization of review. Help you in proposing the research problem and research hypothesis. So what will help you in later stage, if you answer any one of these questions, it will help you in proposing your research hypothesis, which we will do in next class. So there is a research hypothesis you have to make during your initial PhD work. So either it can be a debate which you are solving, a controversy you are solving, or a missing link, or a gap area, something. You will be solving something, right? So that you have to identify by this. Now, how that looks like. We will discuss one day how a research article looks like, but this is deals with how a literature review looks like. So review generally has similar as a review article itself. So you have successfully collected a focused literature from different sources. So we have a folder, separate folders, where there are 20 articles, and there are about 5 or 7 folders, 100 to 140 articles. Now you sit down and collect it. So how you will do it? Go ahead. Now you need to organize and present them appropriately. So that presentation skill is very important, right? Whilst working, you have to be all rounder. Like yesterday, India pull दिया यादव बहुत अच्छा बॉल किया कोई, there is no need for batting itself. So one area you have to excel. So what happens? The following gives a glimpse of the content of each in general. So three basic area. So you have to have, there are 3 basic areas which will be presented in a review article, and you have to have a good skill in presentation. And presentation is also included in research methodology. Kallon sir will take that in the end. It is there. Means you will go to oral, give poster and oral presentation as well, right, during your research years. So first is, there are 3 basic elements. First is introduction. In the literature review, introduction need not be very lengthy, very short only. So what introduction will tell you, gives a quick idea of the topic of literature review. That will give you the introduction, will give you the idea of the topic literature review, such as central theme or organizational pattern. So when the theme on which you are working, that will be presented in the introduction part. It will be very short. Or the way you are organizing, how you will organize, I will come to it now. Try to be concise, generally few paragraphs, maximum 2 to 3 pages. At first, introduce the broader context. As I told you, for you are doing something related to energy, renewable energy, then you start with something broader. Okay, this is the global demand, like that. Squeeze down the larger subject into a topic of interest, which is manageable. You can manage it from large to cutting down into short. Every day I tell the funnel effect. So you slowly you can from the broader you introduce, and it should be interesting to the readers, like that. Explain the fundamentals and implications of the topic. Formulate research questions. Describe the scope of your topic coverage. Okay. Design the organization of the review. How you do. Generally, if you see review articles, they will list now this will be the introduction section itself. Okay, what are the different topics which will be taken under review? Then the most important and the extensive and the hardest part is this body to make this. This is the most important portion of your review. It consists of your presentation and discussion of the sources you have collected and read, and you organize them with a certain approach. Okay, so this will be difficult parts, and here only you have to report your analysis with references, with bibliographies. And how you will do that? Provide some contextual information, group the research according to theme, trends, approaches, provide a comparison of individual studies with as much details as required. Okay. Okay, and then the important part is combine similar citations, descriptions of the literature in your analysis in groups, and present to the reader how this associate with the overall approach of your article, thesis, research problem. Say, so what? Suppose we are presenting. Say, I told you, say nickel NIMO alloy, which we were working on. So, and then what are the see, somebody will be working on the modification in synthesis methods of these alloys. Okay, somebody will work on how you will control the particle size of this alloy. Somebody will work on how that whether structure of the alloy, whether it is amorphous or crystalline. If it is crystalline, how the crystallinity value. Somebody will work only on the local structure, examples and all those. So somebody will work only on the morphology of these alloys. You have to separate out, although under the same subsection nickel MO alloys, but you have to tell, you have to have the analysis. Okay, these 5 particles have synthesized the same alloy by these different 5 techniques, and they have achieved this. So my analysis is by this liquid or whatever arc melting method, you can get a very well structured and a very crystalline nickel MO alloy. So this is how you have to combine all the articles which are having different synthesis method and give your conclusion. Okay, this method is giving the best method for preparing this alloy. Then you come to the morphology. So by this method, we achieve lower, means if it is nanoparticle you are synthesizing. Among these various methods, this gives you the lowest particle size among these, and also particle size being controlled. So in nano, so we discuss every day these nanoparticles, right? And it's a very topic of contemporary interest. But these nanoparticles, if you are prepared of, you can go to very small size, as I told you, atoms also you can go, but you have to have a control over the size. Can you repeat it and do it again? And you can you control it, the size? If it is 2 nanometer, how bigger is the dispersion of those? Means how is that if you have prepared 100 particles, all the 100 are 2, or kuch something is 10, 20, and only few are 2, and you are having a peak. So if you are having a peak of the particle size distributing, which is called particle size distribution, which you plot on x-axis, it will have a peak at around 2 nanometer. But the width of the distribution, so if it's a Gaussian plot, it should not be too broad. It should be narrow. Similarly, for porous materials, somebody was telling they have worked on porous materials. I don't remember. We were speaking one day. And so in porosity also, the best is one which you have a narrow pore size distribution. So you plot the pore size distribution. You have methods to find out the pore size. Various methods are there. Here there are specific methods in their department where you can study pore size. So those pore size, if there is a narrow distribution, so you have to comment, okay, this method is giving narrow distribution, and other methods are giving a broad distribution. The pore size maxima can be same, but the distribution varies. So this body is very important, of the body of your uh, review article, where you highlight all these, and it is useful for the researcher. Why? Because you are going to read a review article and decide your study, right? What I am going to do. So if you can concisely and present it to the author, another author will find it useful, and he can decide, okay, I will prepare this material by this method because it is giving better pore size or better morphology or better nanoparticle nature or better performance or whatever. Some property is best in that method. So that is how you have to highlight it. Then you have to point out contradictory reports, identify and report the methodological errors if there are any. If you can find out that error, it will be nothing like that. Okay, by analysis. When there are contradictory reports in many fields, I have seen. Identify and present to readers the gaps in the areas. That is most important. The gaps in the areas you have to present to the readers. Okay, this alloy has not been prepared by this extensive method, or right now there is a term known as high entropy alloy. Have you heard? Huh? No, high entropy materials. No, so those are the emerging materials, right? One of the emerging material. We are discussing every day some nomenclature, MXenes and metal organic frameworks, nanomaterials. So this kind of materials is another type of material where uh, there are alloy of metallurgy. People can tell metallurgy, again I catch metallurgy every day. आज तो आया नहीं, हाँ. So so alloys, you know the definition of alloy. You have heard of high entropy alloys? No. Yes. No. You can define how you can define. Huh? Just discussion. It's an mixture. I mean, it's not a mixture. An alloy is not a mixture. It's a solid solution, right? Solid solution of more than 5 components. Minimum it has to be have 5 components in the. So they call it high entropy. So lot of work is going on in metallurgy field, isn't it, on these materials? So emerging areas, you have to tell what are the gap areas and emerging areas. Why high entropy alloy is interesting? Why? Because it has better properties from the point of view of corrosion or catalysis, or so it is emerging, because it has properties from it, since it has 5 components, it has properties which are much more robust than each of the components, right? As in case of a binary or ternary alloy, it's better. So if you have a high entropy alloy, it will be more good, like that. Identify and also report the irregularities between theory and findings. The irregularities you have to find out, and it's not so simple as well. We tried preparing in the lab. We have not yet succeeded in preparing those high entropy alloys. So this is these are this is how. But suppose I have to start myself working in this field. So I have to tell my student or myself have to study how they have prepared the alloys and what is the best method, uh, which method has yielded a very well structured or a very crystalline alloy, or if you are concerned with coatings, which method has given the best coating, adhesion coating, high performance coatings, like that. So that I have to find out. So where I will find out? I'll go to the review, right? Review on high entropy alloys or those, and then read it and find out. So if they present it in a nice way, it will be easier for me, and I will definitely cite them. So this is the basis. So how we will organize the body? So organization is done in 3 manners: chronological, thematic, or methodological. As simple as that. Just 3 ways by which you can organize your review article. Chronology means with time. As I told, electrolysis was invented in 1800, around 200 years back. So if somebody wants to do a chronological order, means they will tell, okay, what was the first electrolyzer was and what is today's electrolyzer. How we have evolved from a very simple thing to very advanced, from very low efficiency electrolyzers to very high efficiency electrolyzers. And what are the targets? We have to go to more efficient ones. So here, chronological, organize and present a citation in the chronological order, describing the evolution of the topic with time. It is useful to present the evolution of the topic from historical age to present and identify the future challenges and opportunity. So if you don't tell the future challenge and opportunity, it becomes a historical monograph, right? So you have to tell how you can still improve, huh? And so future challenges and opportunities has to also be to mention. Thematic. In this type of review, the sources are organized in terms of a theme or trend in the content of the topic of presentation. So this is based on a theme. So there will be some themes by which you can just so somebody will present can write a review on the preparation methods of, suppose, nickel based alloys. Only preparation. It can be a theme based, huh? Nothing going into the details. What is its application or other things? Okay, just the theme is that, or just nickel based alloys. Just that will be the theme, how they are prepared and what are the methods. This type of organization is useful if the topic needs to be narrowed down from a broad topic themes to more specific. If you are doing very specific work, then only one area you are reporting, then the thematic is very important. Only one type of material or one type of application of the material. We are dealing, this review deals with only the catalytic application of carbon nanotubes. So it is like that, a very small thing. Or if you want to decrease further a specific reaction, you can mention that reaction itself, the like that. Or methodology. So methodological means what methods they have used, based on the methods used. Okay, organized not by the content of literature review, but on the methods of the researcher writer. So which methods, the research methods we have read, na? What techniques you use. So those are very useful, those techniques, reviews on those techniques. So how there are so many reviews you will find on X-ray diffraction, X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy. So those reviews will be helpful to understand these research methods, these techniques, which you will use during your research years, right? So this type of presentation of social useful methods of the researchers are most important. So there are many people who works on very specific research methods. As I told you, there is a neutron source here inside. So that will be used for some neutron related. There are so many techniques. Like one of the name you can name is neutron diffraction. You have heard, right? Physics, specifically. So it is a very useful technique. You will have reviews on neutron diffraction. What are the basics, the fundamentals? It's a methodological review, right? We will call it, not chronological or thematic. So it's based on that methods. They will talk about neutron diffraction, how it has evolved, and other which are general, available everywhere, like say X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy. It's a material characterization techniques. What is the specific specialty of this technique? Can anybody tell? X-ray diffraction is also there. X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy is there. So what is the difference? X-ray XPS is called. XPS what? Huh? Individual? You can deconvolve individual part, but outer orbital electron configurations and all those things we can find out. And how it differs from XRD, X-ray? Not morphological. Structural is correct. So despacing. So the X-ray gives you the whole picture. So he gives the whole picture. Purity, you can say the crystalline purity, the crystallinity. So this will give you the whole X-ray you are used. So X-ray you can use as a probe. Neutron is used as a probe. So X-ray is used as a probe. You prepare material, you use a probe to understand its characteristics. So suppose we are using X-ray. So in X-ray diffraction, it is now taken in inorganic chemistry classes, right? Chemistry people, they are sitting at last, isn't it? You are chemistry? No. So in chemistry, the XRD is taught, right? Yes. So here now in classes, physics also have come. They have come prepared with X-ray diffraction. So with the same probe, you are having different outcomes or different mechanism of probing. So XRD probes the bulk characteristics. XPS is dealing with only the surface characteristics. That is important. Only the surface of the material. It cannot go into the bulk. Its penetration out. Yes, only the outer means surface of the material is being probed, and you can get the elements. You can detect the elements. You can detect their oxidation state like that using XPS. Review articles you can write on those. Somebody who is working on a suitable technique. So you can think of writing on those techniques, research methods, on particular. So somebody who is dealing with X-ray diffraction, he will write all the theories on X-ray diffraction, its instrumental mechanism, and what information it gives, and what throughout in history how it has helped in solving problems of the researcher. Okay, so the material investigation has been done like in Express also you can do like that. And there are so many techniques, SEM, TEM. You will use so much a variety of techniques during your thesis. And finally you have to recommend something, because you are an expertise in your field. So you do a conclusion and recommendation. This is part by which you end your review with an impact. Here your impact will fail. Remember, when somebody is reading your article, they will just read the abstract and the conclusion itself. So that has to be very precise and catchy, so that people are interested in reading, going through the work. So same holds true for your review article. The authors discuss what conclusions they have drawn for review literature so far, what are the problems solved, the gap areas, the futuristic challenges, and so on. So what problem has been solved by the researchers till date, the gap areas where there is a gap still remaining, so that because only the conclusion they will read, right? Yeah, be quick. And futuristic challenges. What are the challenges awaited in future so that they can solve it? Summarize major contribution of significant studies and articles to the body of knowledge under review. Point out any gaps in the published literature and discuss areas or issue pertinent to future study. So this is how you can present your things. With case studies we will do next day. So we'll just discuss this case study, how they have done in case of electrolysis. I'll sharing this today itself. So I have taken these from these two sources because I was whenever I'm you not using Kothari's book, I'm mentioning, so that it's become easier for you. So these two sources I used. And assignment is no question answer from here. You have to write your own review article, and I'll be happy even few of them are inspired by this today's talk and write your article, right? Okay. So thank you. And if you have any question, you can mail me. The online discussion, online people who are attending, you can definitely mail me if you have any question regarding assignment or any part which you have not understood. You need explanation or anything. Okay. Thank you.